Welcome back, my luminous little hedge walkers. Welcome back to Anonymous Crone, the podcast where we stir the cauldron slowly, sip our tea knowingly, and whisper to the trees like they just might whisper back. If you're new here, welcome. Pull up a mossy stone. If you've been with me since episode 1, you already know we don't rush sacred things. I am very excited for today's episode. By the time we're finished, you will know why. But today's episode is called Green Gods of the Glen. We're walking into the forest. Not the Amazon rainforest, not the Pinterest forest, not the Renaissance Fair forest, and not that strip of land between houses that your neighbor hasn't mowed in years. But we're talking about the old forest. I'm talking about the one that breathes, the one that remembers. And in that forest, we're going to meet the green gods, Hern, Kiernernos, Pan, the Green Man, and many horned, leaf-crowned, antlered, vine-wrapped lords who walk between root and star. But slow down, sister. Before we meet these horny gods, we must understand a little something deeper. Because the green gods do not stand alone. They move in stages, just like we do. In many pagan traditions, especially Wiccan and witchcraft-adjacent paths, like most of us are on, we speak often of the Maiden Mother Crone. And if that sounds familiar, it's because that's my episode 1 entitled Maiden Mother Crone. But the god moves too. He's not static. He shifts, he grows, he sheds, he returns. And his stages are often reflected as the stag, the warrior, and the sage. These correlate beautifully to the goddess's cycle. Here's how they correlate. Goddess side we have maiden, god side we have stag, and for the most part, they are celebrated during spring. The energy they both bring is vitality and awakening. Then the next stage, goddess side is mother, the god side is warrior. They both embody summer. The energy they bring is power and protection, just like a mother and father, right? Then we get to the end of the cycle. For the goddess side, we have crone. For the masculine side, we have sage. The seasons that they're celebrated in is autumn and winter. They bring to the table wisdom and surrender. So let's walk into each stage. First, let's meet the youth, the stag, the spring god of awakening. The stag is antlered youth. He is sap rising. He's rut and rain. He is moss under bare feet. He's not polite. He's not subtle. He is fertility embodied. This is where we meet gods like Kiernernos, the horned god, the early forms of Pan in his untamed youth. The stag represents sexual vitality and sexual virility, a creative spark, a raw pulse of life, the chase, the dance between predator and prey. Spring festivals like Beltane echo this energy. Us pagans honor him by lighting bonfires, maypole dances, and yes, that symbolism is intentional. Leaving offerings in the forest, working fertility or abundance magic by celebrating embodiment instead of shame. The stag teaches us witches that our body's not a sin. Our desires are not corruption. Life wants to live through us. In trots the warrior, the summer's protector. As spring matures, antlers harden. The god becomes protector. This is the warrior stage, the father. He's not aggressive. He is a boundary. The warrior stage is where we see Hern as huntsman, Pan as guardian of wild places. We also see solar warrior archetypes, kind of Lu-like figures. While Lu is primarily a solar deity, Lu is also associated to the green world, just due to the harvest. Fun fact, Lu is the namesake of Lughnasadh, the festival marking the beginning of the harvest season. He's a protector of crops and fruit, apples in particular. Though they're not purely green, these Lu-like gods, they hold warrior sun energy. But the warrior represents protection of the land, defense of their tribes, responsibility, strength with restraint. Summer solstice rituals often honor this stage, and we celebrate him by sun rituals at Litha, offering mead or ale to the land, protective spell work, rituals asking for courage, awareness and protection of forests and wildlife. The warrior says strength is sacred when it protects life. Now it's time to meet the sage. The sage is autumn's antlered wisdom. The antlers are older, the breath is slower, and the eyes are just a little deeper. This is the green man in fallen leaves. This is the forest spirit in winter bark. This is the god who knows he's going to die, and he smiles anyway. He represents death as transformation, wisdom of cycles, of letting go, mentorship, sacred decay. Samhain echoes this energy perfectly. We pagans honor him by doing ancestor work, walking in forests in silence, meditation on impermanence, composting rituals, offering apples or nuts to wild spaces or chipmunks. The sage teaches that nothing truly dies, it just shapeshifts. And so the god mirrors the goddess, stag to maiden, warrior to mother, sage to crone. They do the spiral dance together. And that, my beloved Glen walkers, is our foundation. Are you ready to meet the gods? Herne in the haunted woods, Cernunnos in the ancient carvings, Pan beneath the moonlit reeds, and the green man peering from cathedral stone. The forest is just beginning to stir. Before we continue, let's pause, take a breath, and feel the earth beneath your feet. Let me introduce you to Herne the Hunter, Lord of the Wild Chase. Let us begin where the forest grows darker. Herne is not the gentle green god of poetry and flowers. Herne is the crack of branches behind you, the breath on your neck. He is the reminder that humans are not always the apex creature. Often associated with the Old English woodlands, Herne stands as guardian of the forest, the master of the wild hunt, lord of prey and predator alike, a liminal god between life and death. Herne is deeply tied to late autumn, Samhain energy, the thinning veil, the hunt as sacred necessity, not sport. For us witches, Herne teaches respect of natural law, acceptance of mortality, the balance between taking and giving. We can honor him with silent forest walks at dawn, offerings of bread, apples, or acorns, honoring hunted animals fully with gratitude, and shadow work focused on fear and instinct. Next, we run into Cernunnos, the antlered lord of abundance and balance. Now the forest opens up. Light filters through the leaves, and there he sits, cross-legged, antlers crowned, serpent coiled, purse of coins resting in his palm. Cernunnos is not a god of one season. He is the cycle of life. He stands for life, death, and rebirth. Wealth that flows, not hoards. Sexuality without shame. Harmony between human and wild. Cernunnos is often honored year-round, but especially at Beltane for fertility and life force, and at Samhain for death within the cycle. He is beloved by witches because he does not demand perfection, only balance. We honor Cernunnos by offerings of wine, bread, nuts, or honey, meditating outdoors with palms to earth, working prosperity magic rooted in ethics, honoring animals and wild spaces. Cernunnos reminds us to take only what we can return. What was that flash? Who just ran through the forest? That's probably Pan, god of wild joy and sacred chaos. Pan is wildness without apology. He's laughter echoing through the trees, music that stirs hips and hearts, sexuality as celebration, creative madness. Pan belongs to spring, summer, the twilight hours, and untamed places. Pan is not about excess for excess's sake. He's about experiencing life to its max capacity and then some. We work with Pan when we need creative breakthroughs, sexual healing, reconnection to joy, or a release from rigid spiritual rules. We honor him through music, especially the pipes or drums, dancing barefoot, laughter offered as prayer, wine shared freely. This crone suggests a 5-liter box of wine. It's always good to have on hand. Pan reminds us that if our spirituality has no joy, then it's gone stale, and we need a revival. Do you feel somebody watching you? Is that a face in the trees? That's the green man. He's the face of the living land. Look closer in the stone, in the leaves, in the church walls that tried and failed to erase him. The green man is not one god. He is the land itself, given a face. He represents vegetation cycles, regrowth after destruction, nature's endurance, the sacred within the mundane. When I say nature's endurance, have you ever seen a sidewalk that is cracked and nature is still growing up through those cracks? That's nature's endurance. He is strongest in spring's first green, autumn's last leaves, places humans built but cannot fully tame. Witches honor the green man by gardening with intention, composting as ritual, blessing seeds, caring for the land and waterways. The green man teaches us that we are not separate from the earth. We are just an expression of it. So the gods we just met, they're not the only green gods out there, but they are the most common. There's other green gods and spirits across cultures and paths. Us witches also honor forest fathers, vegetation spirits, horned gods unnamed, local land spirits. Not every god wants a temple. Some just want silence and respect. Many modern pagans choose to work with the local land spirits rather than the big dogs, listening first, honoring, and then naming. That is devotion done correctly. So now that we've met them, the hunter in the shadows, the antlered lord in balance, the laughing goat-footed god, and the green face in the leaves. But knowing their names is not the same as walking beside them. So let us talk plainly. How do modern pagans, witches, and Wiccans actually work with the green gods? Well, the first step is choosing the right god. The truth is, you do not choose them the way you choose your outfit. Some practitioners feel drawn through repeated symbols, like antlers, pipes, oak leaves, stags, etc. They dream of forest or wild places. A sudden emotional resonance with a specific deity. A deep longing for reconnection to nature. But longing alone is not devotion. You need to ask yourself, what season of life am I in, or what energy am I wanting to invoke? Do I need vitality, protection, or wisdom? Am I seeking growth or surrender? The stag answers awakening. The warrior answers the call to defend. And the sage answers the need to release. Align the stage of your life or energy needed with the stage of the god. Here are the don'ts. So let us put our reading glasses on for a moment. If you remember the last episode of this podcast, you will know that calling the correct deity is super important. Also, balance is key. You should never call on a green god for domination magic, or invoke wild forces while disrespecting the land. Please do not use horned imagery for shock value. We are more evolved than Hollywood. And please do not demand signs every 5 minutes like a cosmic customer service phone number. These are ancient gods, and they require reverence. Working with the green god while ignoring environmental harm in your own life is a spiritual contradiction. So here's some seasonal ritual alignment. We now return to the wheel. Spring brings the stag. Best for fertility spells, creative or literal, new ventures, confidence building, reclaiming sensuality. Ritual ideas. You can dance around a candle or a bonfire, plant seeds with spoken intention, wear antler imagery as empowerment. In summer, the warrior reigns. Best for protection magic, boundary setting, leadership work, or courage spells. Some ritual ideas are sun meditations, protective circle casting outdoors, offering water to trees during drought. In autumn, we see the sage, best for ancestor work, letting go rituals, shadow work with integration, endings and transitions. Some ritual ideas include burn written fears in a fire-safe vessel, leaving apples at the edge of the forest, deep meditation in the woods, or any composting or recycling rituals. Now we're at winter, the hidden god. Yes, even the green gods need rest. In winter, their energy turns inward. This is a time for stillness, study, quiet devotion, listening instead of asking. Sometimes honoring a god means allowing him to sleep. Not every relationship requires ceremony. Simple devotions include picking up trash in the park, feeding birds, thanking a tree before taking from it, growing herbs for spell work, refusing wasteful habits, recycling. Environmental responsibility is green god devotion in action. If your practice never touches the soil, it is incomplete. What is the relationship between the crone and the green gods? Now let us speak as elders. The crone does not kneel blindly before the horned one. She stands beside him. She has seen cycles. She's buried lovers. She has watched antlers grow and fall. The crone understands that life is not conquered. It is participated in. The green gods are not rulers over witches. They are partners in the dance of the wild. And when worked with correctly, they restore what modern life has stripped away: instinct, embodiment, and sacred responsibility. If you feel called to the green gods, begin gently. Light a candle, open a window, speak honestly, then listen. The forest will answer. Sometimes they answer slowly. So thank you for walking with me through the forest. Now it's time to answer your questions. In this part of the podcast, I read emails that you've sent in. I answer your questions. Sometimes you answer mine on any social media platforms that you find me on. So this question comes from Moonstruck Maggie. When I posted on social media that I was recording this episode, they reached out with this question. Aren't the green gods all the same being? And, well, here's my answer, because this one does come up a lot. People ask all the time, is Cernunnos just Pan with a different accent? Is the green man the same as the horn god? Is Hern just a later version of Cernunnos? And the honest answer? Well, sometimes yes, and sometimes no. It just depends on your theology and what your heart believes. But here are 3 common views. View number 1 is all horned and vegetation gods are expressions of one underlying wild masculine energy. Different culture, but same current. Another view is the distinct deity view. They are all separate beings with different personalities, histories, preferences. Pan is not Hern. Cernunnos is not the green man. Overlap does not equal sameness. Then there's the soft polytheist view. They are distinct, but can blend or shape aspects depending on context. Many modern witches fall somewhere between 1 and 3. I personally fall under the third option. Don't flatten deities into convenience. If you're working specifically with Cernunnos, treat him as Cernunnos, not the generic horned guy. Respect their cultural roots. Learn their lore. Avoid aesthetic mashups without understanding. The forest is interconnected, but oak is not ash, stag is not goat, leaf is not antler, etc. Difference, though, is very sacred. Thank you, Moonstruck, for sending me your question. If you have any questions or answers or something you'd like to share, please email me at acronepodcast@gmail.com. At the beginning of this episode, I told you how excited I was to do this particular topic. The reason for that is because of today's guest spot. She actually inspired the topic for today's episode. She's one of my very favorite all-time singer-songwriters and fellow witch, and she's given me permission to play one of her songs on today's podcast. I'd reached out to her asking if I could use this song in the last episode about deity, but then I decided that it wouldn't do the song justice just to play it on a deity episode. This song is about Hern the Hunter. So I decided to write a whole episode around the green gods because it's such a great topic anyways, right? So today's guest spot is someone I've admired for a long, long time, a true force of magic, music, and storytelling. I am beyond honored to play a song from S.J. Tucker on my podcast. S.J. Tucker is more than a musician. She's a weaver of worlds. Her songs don't just play, they enchant. They carry you into sacred spaces, into laughter, into shadow work, into joy. There's a rare authenticity in everything she creates, an honesty that feels both deeply personal and universally resonant for those of us walking a spiritual or pagan path. What I personally admire most is the heart that she brings to her craft. There's a warmth, a mischief, and a profound wisdom in her music that makes you feel seen, welcomed, and a little more magical just for listening. She has this incredible ability to turn everyday moments into something sacred, and sacred moments into something beautifully human. Her voice, her lyrics, her presence in the community, well, they've inspired countless people, including myself. And I truly cannot overstate how excited I am that she gave me permission to play her song. So with deep respect and genuine joy, please listen to S.J. Tucker. This song is called Hymn to Hern. And don't worry, I'm going to list where to find her and her music in the show notes of this podcast. So without further ado, here is S.J. Tucker.
You can say your prayers, work your rites, burn your little candles day and night. You can shimmy till dawn to the pounding drums, but you best be ready when the horn one comes, yeah. To the sound of a hunting horn, you dance a ring in the gathering storm. If the solstice time gets your panties in a wad, it's just the coming of the horn god. He will call you out, make you sweat, give you a blessing that you'll never forget. So revel in the chase and let your heartbeat run. Blessed are the children of the horned one. Blessed are the children of the horned one. Hey. Hunter who tracks outside of time, guardian lord of ancient rhyme, brother Stag in the musky Glen, consort of the goddess in her woodland den. We call you forth as we make our way, walking in your power every day. Guide us true in our hunt this night, and maybe even later in the great ride. He will call you out, make you sweat, give you a blessing that you'll never forget. So revel in the chase and let your heartbeat run. Blessed are the children of the horned one. Blessed are the children of the horned one. Yeah. To the sound of a hunting horn. If you dance a ring in the gathering storm, so revel in the chase and let your heartbeat run. But you best be ready, little one. You best be ready when the horn one comes. He's gonna call you out, make you sweat, give you a blessing that you'll never forget. So revel in the chase and let your heartbeat run. Blessed are the children of the horned one. Blessed are the children of the horned one. Blessed are the children of the horned one.
Again, that was S.J. Tucker. If this is the first time you've heard S.J. Tucker, I would go ahead and take the day off of work. That way you can sit at home and do a deep dive into her music. She is absolutely phenomenal. If you would like to have a guest spot on this podcast, if there's something that you would like to share, Maybe you've written a book, or you have theories on different practices. You can always send me an audio clip, or just email me and we can talk about doing an interview over Zoom. You can email me again at acronepodcast@gmail.com. So now we've reached the end of this episode. Thank you again for taking that walk with me in the woods, meeting the green gods of the Glen. Here is today's crone's blessing. May antler rise and leaves unfurl. May roots run deep beneath your world. May stag bring fire, may sage bring sight. May warrior guard your sacred right. Walk with the land, not over it. Let wild and wisdom perfectly fit. In perfect love, in perfect trust, may green return to what was dust. Thank you for hanging out with me in this misty glen. Until next time, keep your head held high as you walk through life, knowing that you're a child of magic and worthy of the moon. See you next week on Anonymous Crone.